afternoon.
Hello, Mrs. Passmore.
Nice to meet you, John.
Have a seat. Yes. Take a seat. So we've had some problems with the Malaga plant,
I believe so.
and obviously it's caused a lot of disruption for quite a few years. From what I understand, there's about 11 or so disruptive influences who all seem to have a long history of non-compliance, general bad behaviour. The perfect outcome would be to get rid of them all, but we have to go through processes to do that.
Yeah,
To stop the disruption is
I'm aware of that. That's why I've sent them letters to actually tell them exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can be aware of this one. But what would you think about that letter? In your
I thought
honest opinion?
the letter was good.
Mhm.
I think the letter was quite specific in your expectations, and also the problems that have been going on for the last however many years. I know that the unions have not been particularly supportive up until this point, and one of the reasons the union hasn't been particularly supportive is because some of the people that are being disruptive appear to be union members.
I just need to know, is these letters enough to actually make them aware of what they're doing at the moment? Is it actually helpful?
It's helpful. I mean, I imagine they're aware of what they're doing. The problem is that they don't seem to care, or they don't seem to think. I get the impression that they think they're untouchable. And from a company, from an organisational perspective, that's a problem. So I think they assume that if they're with the union, then they can't be punished, they can't be reprimanded, and they certainly can't be sacked. And that may be so, but I think the only way really to stop the disruption that has been caused by these people is to get them out of the organisation. But in the past, when we've tried to do this, it's caused a massive problem. There's been strikes, and the company has suffered big losses, and in the end we've had to call off the strike, and these people have been allowed back into work, and so the problems have continued. So I think this time we really need to dot our I's, cross our T's, so that we don't put the organisation at any undue risk. We've got to ensure that all the issues the organisation has with these individuals are proven and they're documented, and that the issues that we've got with them have been addressed with them, so that they've had the time to have a look at what they're doing, maybe realise that it's not the best behaviour to have in an organisation for whatever reason, and give them a chance to rectify it and resolve it before we take the next performance management steps.
Is there actually a time frame when we actually send this letter? Is it going to be followed up?
I think the letter was a really good first step. I think that the performance management and the documentation that follows the letter needs to be started, and there are time frames for performance management. I mean, if we're going to address it with these people and tell them, make them aware of the issues that we've got with them, then they need to be a time frame to give them enough time to fix it.
And how long would that be, roughly?
Well, there's no specific time on it. I mean, if we have a meeting with them, we would say, okay, we'll have another meeting in a week or so, or 2 weeks, whichever we would decide, and you can tell me how you're going to adjust your behaviour or fix whatever's going wrong, and then we move on from there. However, if they're not prepared to see their behaviour as a problem to the organisation, that's where we're going to have to renegotiate, have another meeting, and start doing things a little bit differently. I.e., we need to start performance managing properly, we need to document the behaviour, we need to document the non-compliance on the behaviour once they have been made aware of it. It has to be confidential, there has to be proper meetings, there has to be witnesses on our side, and they have to have the opportunity to have their witnesses in these sorts of meetings as well.
That's good.
And these things all obviously need to be justified, documented, all that sort of thing. And that takes time. That can take some weeks. Then we give them the opportunity to adjust their behaviour. That can take some time. They'll be given a specific time as to when we expect to see results. If the results aren't seen, then we start taking the next step, which is the likes of warning letters, that sort of thing.
Because, as I'm aware of, we have to give them certain timing for their letters, and then for them to give action into it. And if it doesn't work, then at least we have them all documented, and we can freely let them go without the industrial relation
Well, that's right.
on our back.
Yeah, we need to make them aware that there's an issue, give them the opportunity to adjust the behaviours or whatever's going on, and then if there is no adjustment to that, then we start going to a lot more performance management mode where they are now aware that there are that there will be what do you call it? There will be outcomes that may not be what they want. I mean, they may lose their job.
Yes.
There will be warning letters. There will be action towards stopping the disruption, basically. And if that means getting rid of them, that's what we need to do. From here, by the time they've had their meetings, by the time they're aware of it, by the time they decide yes or no to adjust their behaviour, I think once we've got our documentation in order and all that sort of thing, then we probably need to seek further help in the way of some sort of maybe specialist industrial relations lawyer, something like that. I mean, I would actually like to get the unions involved. I think if these people are union members, then I think that the unions should be certainly upper levels of union organisation probably need to be aware, if they're not already, that some of their members are causing big disruptions, and it's not only maybe going to cost the loss of the jobs of their union members, but may actually cost the loss of jobs of other people, other workers in the organisation that are not union members. I mean, ideally, I would think that the unions would want everybody to keep their jobs. I mean, I would think that would be the best outcome for everybody. If that's not possible, then at least the disruptive members would lose their jobs, but everybody else may be able to keep theirs. So if I can get union involvement in a positive direction, that would be great. If I can't, that's something we'll have to deal with as well. But I would be seeking advice from the industrial disputes lawyer before I contacted anybody anyway. But our usual policies and procedures for going ahead with rectifying the sort of behaviour that we've seen over the last few years, we'll start with that.
Okay.
And we'll certainly make sure our documentation is in order. It needs to be precise, accurate, dated, witnessed. Any meetings need to be witnessed. They also need to be documented. The people need to be aware that there will be a meeting happening. They need to be given a time and a date, and make sure it's, where everybody's happy to be there for that. They need to be given the opportunity to have some sort of support person with them, and obviously we need our witness with us as well.
So that's good. You got those processes already in place. So after that, then that's the time you're going to present it to the union members or the higher members of the union.
The 11 disruptive people that we've got, majority of them are union members.
Okay.
So that's why I would like to get the upper echelons of the union involved, because I'm not even sure that they're aware that some of their members are causing these sorts of problems. And if they are aware, then that's obviously going to be a problem, because they may back or support these members in being disruptive. I would hope that they wouldn't, but they may. So in that sort of area, that's where our legal specialist would be helpful, hopefully, in giving some insight on what it could do to our organisation, what steps we can take to stop it doing anything too much to our organisation, minimise any sort of risk to the organisation and to the workers. And that's our jackhammer as well. And then from there, following their advice and doing what we need to do. Are you happy with that for the time being?
Yeah, I guess so. That's as long everything's documented, because otherwise we can't proceed anymore legally if we don't have the industrial relations
We
backing
can
us
proceed,
up.
but we shouldn't.
Yes, if we can actually fix it up indoors, then that would be good.
Okay, that's what I would like. I'd like to see everybody keep their job. I'd like to see the behaviour stop. I would like to see the dispute finished, and I would like to see everybody just get on with their jobs, go home to their families, and do what they're supposed to do.
That's what they're supposed to be doing.
That would be good. That's the main objective.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice doing business with you.
Thank you.